Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the old MCU Crew. Jesse's not here today, so in his place, I put what he probably looks like right now, sitting at his PC. His internet's down. It might come up in the middle of this. If it doesn't, then we will move the tier list to next week. But there's still news to talk about, and we've still got. Oh, sorry, it's right and left. We've got Bronze on this side, on my left. Bronze, how's it going?
Pretty good. I wasn't expecting that Jesse picture, so that's why I was laughing.
Yeah, it's fun whenever in all the years of shows that we've done, it's always fun when someone's missing because that means I get to go to the old Google image search and find the worst photo possible.
That's it is Google image search?
This is number 8, maybe, on...
oh, no.
This is from an article on Jesse Cox leaving Polaris, which was when he left his MCN years back and went on his own on the old YouTubes. So I don't know.
Wow.
That's what they chose.
I feel like that's kind of shady.
What
I
is?
feel like they could have chosen such a better picture for Jesse.
Oh. Yeah. He looks
So I was like, look, this guy's going to go out on his own.
Yeah. He does look a little bit, dare I say, murderous, maybe. Just a little bit.
Exactly.
Just a little bit.
Exactly.
Anyways, we were going to do the phase 1 ranking today, which would have probably been quick. So we would have jumped into the phase 2 ranking. But if Jesse doesn't make it for the show, then we'll save that for next week, which is it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Did you have a chance to check out the assembled episode on Loki? Did you watch that? Because I did not.
No.
I did not. Okay.
I did not either.
Yeah, good. That means we can.
What is the assembled episode?
It's like the making of type deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like a making of the show. So, didn't catch it. Probably will watch it. There was a lot of TV that actually came out this past week, so I was watching other stuff. Everyone in chat saying it was pretty good, so it seems like we missed out. We do have a bunch of news though, so let's just. Oh, wait a minute.
Here's some news you can use.
Is that the Cox man? Just in time.
Hello. Hello, friends. I hope you're all doing well.
You did it. You timed it out
JP.
well.
Your lighting is so much better this week, Jesse.
I think that's why I think his internet was working this entire time. He just wanted the dramatic entrance.
I mean, that's worth it.
It's true.
What book did they do that in? Tom Sawyer, where the whole thing is him showing up to his own funeral. Jesse wanted to do that.
That let's be real. That will be what happens.
Yeah.
I fully plan on appearing at my own funeral. I will be there. I'm gonna let everyone know I will be there. I promise. I will be there.
All right. Well, let's start.
Maybe.
We're starting to show out a little
in the
grand.
casket.
I mean, that's a promise I can keep.
Jesse, what do you think about your stand-in image? Do you like it? Are you a fan?
Not only do I love that, my favorite part is that every time I do anything wrong on the internet, that's the photo they always use. They're like, internet asshole Jesse Cox said some dumb shit this week, and it's me like, yeah. So I'm well aware of that. Yeah, I have a lot of great photos. I realize, like when you see the people on the news mocking a person, they're like, this person's awful, and they always pick a crappy photo of them. I realize now I have that many photos of me out on the internet that they're almost all crappy. So go to town.
The May photo came up a lot when I did the Google. That seems to be your most popular pick out there.
Well, you know what?
Is you as May.
It's also my sexiest. It's also I've never looked better.
I know.
Didn't that spawn a whole conversation about how you were destroying masculinity?
It should.
I mean, obviously, I am. See, what spawned that is that I was me. I wasn't personally there, but the me. I was on Alex Jones, and they were like, "This guy is one of the reasons why men are cups now." Or something.
I don't know if you've worked on, but you've got the Alex Jones has a rasp to his voice, like he smoked a pack of cigarettes or something. You've got it down like perfectly. Like I think you could actually do a very good Alex Jones impersonation if you tried.
It's like a fat guy wanting to be skinny guy thing. We all have it. We're like,
It's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
You sound like an engine, like a hateful little engine starting up.
Yeah. Right. Normally, I'd be like a.
Hold on. I gotta ask. I ask all my friends this. Was I the only weird one that loved the insanity test back in the early days of the internet? Do you remember what this is? Does Bronze even know what this is?
No.
You've never seen the insanity test?
I'm gonna look this up. What is
my God. Test? I'm dating myself here real bad with the insanity
test.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, I'm sure at some point you were about to talk Marvel, and I showed up like, hey!
We were getting into the news. Yeah, but it's fine. That's fine. Yeah, the insanity test. It was the race car.
My bad.
It was the old race car. I don't even know if I think it was on Newsgrounds. I don't even know if it like...
On Newsgrounds? Newsgrounds?
Yeah, I think that's where it was.
Newsgrounds?
Wasn't that the like Flash website?
Goodbye, internet. Goodbye.
Wait, why are we saying
as I fade away into irrelevancy? Like, bye. I Thanos snap out of reality.
Oh, was it Newgrounds? It was Newgrounds.
Newgrounds.
Oh. There was something else I thought. Oh, another thing that I messed up with. I thought the famous Battlefield 2 map was Strike at Karkland, but there was no L. And so I've played over like 3,000 or 4,000 hours of Battlefield 2, and I always thought it was Karkland. I just never read.
Look, you learn something new every day. I saw your Final Fantasy 14 tweet, and I was like, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
so,
no, that was a lot of people. A lot of people didn't know that. Bronze, did you do the insanity test?
Is it the crazy frog thing?
Nope, it's the race car thing.
Okay. I found a parody of it, of like the race car, but instead it's been dubbed over with that little crazy frog thing.
Man, I don't think it exists anymore.
That guy?
Yeah. And I was like, this is interesting.
I need to ask, how far back can I age myself?
Dude, so I found a Reddit post from 10 years ago.
Oh,
it said that it no longer exists. I don't think this thing doesn't.
All right, hamster dance. Yes, we all remember
hamster dance. Yeah, of course. Yeah, hamster dance. Bronze, you know the hamster dance?
No, I know
Bronze the
Carmel
Zoomer here.
dancing.
What?
No, I know the Carmel dancing one.
I don't know that one.
And leak spin, which I think those are probably pretty cool. Like
Jesse's out.
I'm ready to be buried. Just put me in the ground now. Put me in the ground.
Jesse's out. Yeah.
We were talking last week about geriatrics.
You don't remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there's a dance that goes. I don't know what it's from.
It was the hamsters, and they were dancing.
It was dancing.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Song.
That's the song. That's the song. It's that. I mean, it's pretty. Jesse's like pretty much on point there. Yeah. That's a thing. Anyways, let's talk about the MCU for a bit. Let's get off of old memes. I'm tired of dating myself. I'm already old.
At this point, I would date myself. Well, I like myself a lot.
Look, we're gonna see a lot of that this year.
I've got a connection.
Loki made it big. All right.
Yeah.
Alabama's rejoicing. They're out there.
Loki made it okay.
They're loving
date yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Why love someone else when you can love yourself?
Well, it's most important to love yourself before you love anyone else. That's what they say. That's what all the folks say. Right, Jesse?
Why are you looking at me? I have the worst track record of all the people. You shouldn't look at me.
Because you're the accomplice. Bronze is the one that laughs at the two. That's the dynamic of the show. You're always the ride or die, and Bronze is the one that will laugh at our silly antics. That's how the show goes. That's the formula to the MCU crew.
I mean, that is roughly 90% of what I do is an effort to get Bronze to laugh at it. So, like,
right.
That is you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's true. And then Bronze actually has the like great takes on the show, and me and Jesse are just like, yeah. So, anyways,
yeah, no. Yeah,
I think
definitely.
My favorite is when I don't laugh, because then Jesse is like, will sit there for 5 minutes feeling judged.
Oh, yeah, I feel judged for him.
You can not only tell that I feel judged, but more importantly, the bit will not stop until I force a smile.
That's true.
Yes,
so like,
I know.
if you just want me to shut up,
that's true.
Just like smile at me, and I'll be like, "Gotta, yeah, all right, we can move on."
That's very true.
Yeah,
that or I'll cut it off.
Yeah, but I usually won't stop. I'll bring it up 25 minutes later in another vain attempt to continue. And yeah, you should just, mute me at that point.
It's very true. What type of coffee cup we working with here, Jessam?
This was from an old YouTube channel that was called Ormsby Cinema Insane. And it was this guy who had a puppet and he would watch old crappy movies. And it wasn't like a great YouTube channel, but it became a goof that we would watch it all the time.
Great.
Ormsby Cinema Insane. And I bought the coffee cup because I thought it was like funny. That's
great. No, it's a good one. That's a good one. All right, let's get the show started. We got some news. We got things to talk about. And then we're doing I'm very excited for our tier rankings, and I'll tell you why when we get to that. But we actually do have a good chunk of news here. Tom Hiddleston, according to, who is he speaking with here? Yes, a Tumblr Q&A, the number one source for all things news. I didn't even realize Tumblr was still a thing. Anyways,
I didn't even know it was a thing.
I didn't either. I thought it was done. Tom Hiddleston, in a recent Tumblr Q&A, said that he wants to play the Marvel villain for the rest of his life. On ask if he would, he said, "Would I? Yeah, absolutely." He replied, "I'm so lucky that I've got to play Loki for this long, and I feel like he's such an interesting character. He's been around in human consciousness for so long. He's got so many different aspects, so many different complex characteristics that it feels every time I play him, I find out something new, or we get to evolve him or take him down an avenue that we haven't gone down before." How do we feel about? I think he's great. I think he's a great Loki. I don't think
perfect cast.
Yeah,
it's perfect casting. I see no reason that we should change that.
Yeah.
Till you're dead, my friend. To the end. Someday someone was like, "Who's Loki?" And then you fade to dust.
Yep.
Till then.
I agree.
I feel like he also, for a character that frequently flits, like on the sort of cusp of sometimes works with the heroes and oftentimes works against them, Hiddleston has somehow managed to be unlikable and likable in the next second, which is very hard. And we kind of saw that, I think, the first time that clicked for me was Ragnarok. Because there's scenes where Thor is frustrated with him, and you as an audience member are frustrated with him too, right? Like, you're just like, what? God, like, can you just stop for like 2 friggin' seconds, Like, he's just, like his writing is annoying, but somehow he manages to be likable through it, which is hard as an actor, because sometimes when you're given writing that's where you have to be an anti-hero or do things that, I'm sure any of you that have played a evil character in a D&D group know that it's very hard to not have the audience turn against you. And yet somehow with Loki, he always comes back. Like, no matter how much he fucks over the heroes or throws a wrench in the plans, there's something about the dude with like his camera presence where he's so charming that when he has the redeeming arc, like, we're already on board because we want to forgive him.
It's very true.
They don't have to do too much exposition. Like in Ragnarok, when he shows up on the ship, like, "Hey, I'm back." That's it. That's enough. Like, because we already wanted to like him, and that's hard.
Right. Well, I also think that in the Avengers and even in Thor 1 a little bit too, he was definitely written as like a one note character, right? And so he didn't get to explore I think, what Loki has become probably until Ragnarok, kind of like what you're saying. I think that was when we finally got to see him branch out a little bit.
Even though we ignore it because it's not a great movie, Dark World does give you a glimpse of like what that character could be.
True.
If he were a good guy. And I think what's fun about, God, I can't believe I'm about to praise this movie. What's fun about it is that
it's got some good parts to it. Okay.
I mean, look, I think it's terrible. That
we'll get to it soon. We'll get to it soon. Let's original thought.
Anyway, but like the idea that as a character you could see him grow and change in that film, but at the same time, all of his growth and all of his change was still like a plot. You know, he was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm a good guy, but secretly I'm trying to take over Asgard," like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, at the time, though, the audience, you know, you could root for him. And what was fun is that when he later shows back up as like the goof of, you know, I'm Odin and I'm putting on plays for myself, we as an audience think that's hilarious, even though really we should be like, this son of a bitch. But actually, we're like, that's our Loki.
That's Loki.
And
yeah,
the transition to get there is crazy because, I mean, I guess, what is it? 3 movies? Technically?
Yeah.
As a character? So, like, it's wild that we can get to that point where it's like suddenly, oh, this guy. Oh, boy. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
It is. It is indeed. I hope he sticks around for all time. I like Tom Hiddleston.
Always.
Always. He's very good in other roles as well. If you haven't seen The Night Manager on Amazon and you want a little bit more Hiddleston in your life, definitely check it out. I think it's about 8 episodes. It's also got Hugh Laurie as the bad guy in that film. It's in that show. It's not a film. It's very good. It's a great series. And I think it's like one
Only
and done.
Lovers Left Alive is with, he plays a vampire with Tilda Swinton.
Oh,
so if you ever want to see Tom Hiddleston in a romantic, very grounded vampire movie with Tilda freaking Swinton, it's as amazing as it sounds. And that's actually the movie that made me really be like, yo, this guy is a good actor. Huh. You know, when you have that moment where you're like, wow, this guy. And that was mine. I already kind of knew. Yeah, Only Lovers Left Alive.
Yeah, it was Loki and the Ancient One playing vampires, hanging out, falling
in love. I was about to say,
yes.
Like in my mind, you're telling me this movie, and all I see is like bald Tilda Swinton, and just be like, it's so weird, but I'm like, yeah, I want to see that movie though.
In a lot of ways, the like longer Loki haircut on Hiddleston, it's very vampire-y. It's very vampy, you know, like that just screams vamp to me. You put some fangs on him and you got a vampire.
I mean, his hair is like everything about him screams vampire.
Right.
Like even just his normal everyday look screams vampire.
I agree. It's great casting. It's great casting. According,
is that a compliment?
I think so.
I don't know. Okay. All I know is when I look at the man, if you said that was a vampire, I'd be like, yeah, I believe that.
Right. I would agree.
And I don't know how to explain. Like, yeah, no, that checks out. If you were like, well, there's a cast of people and they rule over us and they're vampires and Tom Hiddleston is one of them, I would be like,
It all checks out.
All right. I would just accept it because it seems very true.
It all checks out.
Yeah.
Jumping into the rumor mill for a little bit, a website called WeGotThisCovered.com were the same ones that reported about Captain America 4, starring Anthony Mackie, before that was confirmed, has now reported that from their sources, Kang will team up with none other than Dr. Doom.
Kodos.
What?
What?
Huh?
That was a Simpsons joke for my old men out there.
Yeah, that was
old farts.
That was an
old got him.
That was an old one.
The
next bit of news is also pertaining to that as well. But
what does that mean?
I don't know. I guess maybe that they could potentially have, so in the comics, because the article goes on to say some stuff that I didn't actually know about. They state what makes this idea of a Kang/Doom union such an interesting prospect, though, is that there's a potential key connection between the pair. Though his real name is Nathaniel Richards, which suggests he is related to Reed Richards, in the comics,
he is.
Kang believes that he may be a descendant of Doom's instead, or possibly even both. This has always been confusing for fans, so the MCU will have to clarify Kang's heritage in some way, and it looks like they've got plans to do it.
I don't mean like... This seems like one of those things that, as fans, we're obsessed over.
Doom?
But no, I mean just when you're talking about like Kang's heritage.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like it's something that only fans give a crap about. But in reality, is it necessary in any way for them to be like, it's complicated and like Kang's like, I don't know that it's, they can hint about it, but they don't even have to like get into it. If they were smart, they'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
They'd be like, my ancestor comes from your time. And then it'd be just vague enough to be like, is it Doom? Is it Richards?
That's probably, that's
like,
probably what they'll do.
No, who knows? I mean, I'm interested more in how they're going to bring Dr. Doom into the universe.
So,
that's one of those things like, would he have been around for a while? How does he become? Honestly, can I tell you something? I hate origin story movies, but I'd love a Dr. Doom origin movie.
Well, how would you feel about Henry Cavill playing Dr. Doom?
Henry Cavill playing Dr. Doom?
According to reports, he recently met with Marvel Studios in London.
I'm trying to remember his voice now, because that character, you don't see their face, right?
You shouldn't. If
right?
If it's a proper Doom, you shouldn't see their face.
I mean, Henry Cavill's real voice, if you ever listen to his like videos and whatever he puts out on the internet, he's like, all right, it's me, Henry Cavill, and I talk like this for some reason, and I'm just so goddamn sexy, and I want everyone to know how sexy I am. And I'm like, you're sexy, dude. He's like, oh, I know, Jesse. I'm so damn sexy. Anyway, I'm going for a walk right now, I am. So I'm just gonna like... It's frustrating. You know what? I'm a little bit...
Go listen to his voice from Mission Impossible Fallout, I think. Was that the one? Is it Fallout? Whichever Mission Impossible he's in, if you listen to his voice in that, and like that was how they portrayed Dr. Doom, like in a more serious tone, I think that would work.
The one where he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna have to take out the trash, American friends." That voice, where he's like,
I think so. It's like an American accent.
It's just business.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, don't worry, I'm going to cock my arms like they're guns now.
Best scene,
that
best action scene, last 10 years, best
even though I joke, that movie's amazing.
Yeah, it's the second time we've praised this movie. Go watch it. It's great. Everyone there is fantastic.
That is a fantastic movie. Go watch that shit. Right? It's incredible. I love that film.
Yeah. The more likely character that I think everyone believes Henry Cavill will play, if that meeting with Marvel Studios went well and actually did occur, is Captain Britain. But I don't, if we're going with this Doom thing that this site is reporting on, Cavill could, I mean, he's kind of got the build for it. He's got that like chiseled head.
I
wouldn't say face because you would never see it if they do it right.
I think the sad thing about Henry is that he is like maybe that's good for Dr. Doom, but he seems, he's like at a point where if you brought him in now, I don't know how you're having 10 years of Dr. Doom. You know what I mean? Like he's like certainly aging up as an actor.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, like, I guess it's possible.
I don't want a young Dr. Doom. The way...
Oh, no, I agree. I don't want a young Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
But also, if you're going to bring in Dr. Doom, like middle-aged Dr. Doom, I'm like, all right. Like, I don't know. For some reason in my mind, the voice I want to have like a gravitas to it. And that might mean casting an older actor.
Like an Ian McKellen type voice? Like that's what you're kind of going for?
Yeah, there's something like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I want in a perfect Dr. Doom, but I know what I want, and I know it's not Henry Cavill. I like Henry Cavill. Love that actor, but I'm like, not Dr. Doom. I don't know.
There's also like a physical component to it.
True.
You know?
Are you saying this works for or against Cavill?
I think it works for, because the way he occupies space on camera isn't bad.
Right.
I don't know if that's the highest praise, but like, I didn't care much for him as Superman, but then when I saw him as Geralt, there was like a, I don't know, there was like a on-screen presence he had, like a physicality that kind of made it somewhat believable that he's like this weird emo killing machine. Yeah.
True.
And I'm trying to think if we stapled a metal plate over his face and got rid of the fact that he's pretty, if that physicality would like carry him through a role. So I don't know, I guess is what I'm saying.
This is so Julian in chat said, I'd have Bryan Cranston as Doom before Cavill. That
Bryan
I like.
Bryan Cranston would be a great Doom.
Yes,
and I realized buffed up a little bit. Yeah,
I realized the thing that I was missing, the thing that I was thinking about with Henry Cavill is Henry Cavill can like look away and he can sound away, but his voice never has the emotionality that I think. Like when you listen to Bryan Cranston act, like the things that are coming out of his mouth, right? Like the way he expresses himself vocally. There's so much emotion in every word that I'm like, that is a guy you put behind a mask. Because you don't need to see his lips and his face and his eyes, but to be able to hear him and be able to like put those words out there, you're like, oh, I know there's like acting going on. It isn't just like, I am here to defeat you, Reed Richards. Like there's actually something happening. That's the kind of like voice and character you need. Oh yeah, that's like spot on. I would love to see that.
Be pretty good. Yep. He might be. Is Cranston too old though?
I mean, again, maybe, but I don't know what the ages of the rest of the Fantastic Four are.
Look, until they say otherwise, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are fantastic. That's who's playing those characters.
It's like such fun casting too. Like it's so upsetting that like the internet nailed that the first time around.
They are playing those characters until Marvel says otherwise. As far as I'm concerned, they are. Look, they've already got the Disney in. Okay, Emily Blunt's already all up in Disney's business, and then they can just get Krasinski over. Right? They're married. That's an easy win. I don't know who plays the other two though. I don't know who the fuck plays the other two. That's a. I don't know who the hell.
Can I tell you where I really want? I think we all know where Henry Cavill should really go.
The Thing.
The Thing. Come on, that would be amazing. That would be so good.
Did you see the internet's like fan? It's not fan fiction because that just implies like some weird deviant bullshit going on. I don't even know the
weird bullshit.
The fans casting of Korg and the Thing hanging out and just being like rock bros. I would love to see that. Right? I think that'd be great.
Just hanging out with. What problems do rocks have? I don't know, but I would watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a really funny bit in at least a future movie.
Totally.
Where it's like the two of them meet and they like he finally finds like a kindred spirit and they're just like, oh yeah, there's a whole planet of us. Like, come on, hang out.
Yeah.
I think that would be incredible.
It'd be 10 out of 10. Cavill should play Cyclops. He would be a very good Cyclops.
He would. He has that
interesting role. Yeah.
That ability
very good.
to be a douchebag.
Yeah.
Because you know,
he could just play the Mission Impossible character.
But I have discovered that a lot of the internet hates him. But I like him precisely because I feel like he's written to be disliked, you know?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, in the comics, he's a fucking asshole, without question.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But I like that. I think those characters make the overarching comic interesting.
I love that you like are very passionate about like the guys who are a little too good. They're like, what an asshole. Like can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Of all the Ninja Turtles, is Leonardo your favorite?
No. Donatello.
Correct. That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah. But I hate Raphael.
That's also the correct answer.
all right, there you go. All right, I was about to say. Okay.
Yeah, my favorite's
bronze is 2 for
Donatello,
2.
but I hate Raphael.
Bronze is 2 for 2. There you go. Well done.
Sorry. I'm a party dude with Michelangelo.
I figured he would be.
Pizza with anchovies.
I think it's the orange headband, right? I think that just screams Jesse Cox to me.
Let's all be clear. I love Michelangelo, but if I'm playing any Ninja Turtles video game, it's always Donatello because his bow staff has a reach.
It's always
just put it out there.
It is.
It's the best weapon in the game,
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And he's a computer nerd. He's a gamer. He's a gamer, guys.
Probably.
You can hang out with Donatello and have him beat the crap out of a bunch of foot soldiers and then play New World.
What about...
He can do it all.
Here's the question, though. How do we feel about Casey Jones?
No.
Really? Just like hard no, you're out?
No.
A guy with a hockey mask just beating people up?
No.
He was always competition between me and April O'Neil. I always felt like he was threatening.
Yikes.
I can't date April if he's in the way. So I was going to get my friend Michelangelo to kick his ass, and then I'd be in the clear.
It's true.
That's how I'd do it.
When do they... Hold on. Random... This is probably a bad tangent. When do they stop calling them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? You know? Like, they've been around for a while. Whereas, like, the middle-aged Ninja Turtle... Like, the Rick and Morty style animation of the... the middle-aged Ninja Turtles.
Geriatric Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Geriatric
That's what I want to see.
Turtles.
Splinter's dead.
Hello there, Donatello. Yep. What do you have today?
It's true.
And it's like Mike, and he's like trying to eat a pizza, but he's like, I can't get my chompers to work. I'm going to need to blend it again.
Hold on, though. Turtles are very, very old, right? So maybe this works out. They'd have to be like... Don't turtles live for like 100 plus years? 200 plus years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they still
they'd probably still be young and spry.
Yeah. Maybe so.
That poor Master Splinter, though.
He's dead. He's dead as fuck. Yeah, he didn't make it very far. Cat got him.
We're all mutants. It doesn't matter. He could live to be 2,000. We don't know how mutancy works.
Don't we?
That's part of the name. Teenage Mutant. The mutants. They exist on a spectrum that we cannot quantify because they have been powered by the ooze. The ooze. Bronze. The ooze.
It's true. God, that I need to go back and watch. I've seen that movie probably 100 times, but never once as an adult. I gotta see if it stands up. If it holds up.
That is the first one is so good. So very good. So
that's the one with the Vanilla Ice song.
Go Ninja one?
Yeah.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
No, that's Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Oh.
The first one is Turtle power, Turtle power, Turtle power, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. In that song, they literally sing Raph. He's the leader of the group. I don't think they even have a clue what they were singing about. It's crazy.
You're right. You're right. I forgot about that. I got to go watch those movies now. Maybe they're on Amazon.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh, the first one's great.
First one's pretty good.
I'm going to have to watch it.
It's pretty good. Moving along in the old news, we've got a director potentially all but confirmed for Blade. It is a man by the name of...
An Indian guy!
Yeah, Bassam Tariq. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is the one who directed Mogul Mowgli, I think is how you pronounce that. I've not seen that, and that is the only thing
Pakistani. My bad. He's not Indian, he's Pakistani.
Gotcha. That is the only thing he's made of notable mention. But it's all but confirmed at this point, as he's going to be working with Mahershala. Jesus, I'm stumbling with these names. Ali, who is of course confirmed to play Blade. They locked him in real early in the process, I gotta say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like the start of phase 4, I think, during...
Do we think
the pre-COVID
Wesley
times.
Snipes is going to have a cameo?
I don't know. Isn't Wesley Snipes like in jail, or is he already out of jail?
I thought
I think he's out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because wasn't he in What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
Does everyone? Because by the way, if you haven't seen that show, there's an episode where they go see the Council of Vampires, and is literally like every movie. It's like all movie vampires, and it's so funny. It is incredible.
Wait,
I think he's in that scene.
If you've seen that, Jesse, then you've seen Tilda Swinton as a vampire, because that's the movie she's from. Only Lovers Left Alive. With the crazy white hair.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so she's not bald like the ancient one. She's the
I just thought she was in that episode because it's hilarious that Tilda Swinton is a vampire.
Oh, okay. No, I was wondering. I wonder if he saw that and questioned it. But Tilda Swinton is one of those people you can kind of put her anywhere, and I think we're trained to not question it.
Right. I don't. I love her, so she can go anywhere. Maybe me.
He was in that as representing Blade, and he was on a Zoom call, and he had a lot of lag, and it was a really funny bit.
It was very good. I'm curious what role he would play in the movie, but I feel like he could definitely be in it as a guy in one of the nightclubs. You know what I'm talking? Like a cameo of just
walking by or something. I would just what I would love. Here's what I would love. Don't give him any acting. Just let him be on screen and let him be ice skating uphill. That's all I want. That's just the nod. If they just have him ice skating uphill, that's all they could do. That's all I got to say. If they just have him doing that, that's it. And then he's done.
Yeah, I don't know if they can do too much with his. So I know some Blade lore.
Yeah.
And apparently on the third film, he was incredibly difficult to work with.
Yeah, he's kind of an asshole behind the scenes from what people say.
I don't know if behind the scenes, we don't even need to say that. Everyone's just like, he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he didn't like sharing screen time in Blade Trinity with the other two characters.
Ryan Reynolds and Bill, yeah.
So if you go back and watch those movies, which I recently did, and I did a little bit of Googling, there's a scene where he's dead on a table or something like that, and there's this really weird thing that happens afterwards where his eyes open, but it's like Mortal Kombat CGI levels of bad. And so I looked it up, and at that point in time, I talked about it on a stream. There was a whole laundry list of crazy shit he did on set, but he refused to open his eyes.
I remember reading about that. Yeah,
eyes shut.
Yeah, so they made fake eyes.
Go in, and there was other stuff he did too that was just it made the filming of that film almost a miracle that it finished.
Yeah,
so I don't know if the people want to work with him. But I think it would be cool.
It'd be a nice nod.
He is the OG.
He is, yeah.
All that needs to happen is Blade has to go into a bar called Blood Tornado, and it's a vampire bar, and then in the corner is a dude who's it's Wesley Snipes, and that's it. That's all, and people will be ah! That's it. That's all needs to happen. Wesley will gladly do that. The man has bills to pay. He's got tax problems. He could probably use the money.
It's true. That's true. What else do we have? This is kind of some spoilers, I guess, if they turn out to be true, but it's not confirmed yet. They do have a double confirmation, though, if you consider liking a tweet, a confirmation of this thing. Anyways, I'll get to the news. It pertains to a potential villain in the upcoming Disney Plus series Hawkeye. Apparently, old Kingpin is going to be popping up in Hawkeye, and it will be Vincent D'Onofrio in the role.
Now, when you tell me that, my first reaction isn't, oh my God, I love Vincent D'Onofrio. I'm so excited. My first reaction is, boy, they really think they need to bring out all the people for people to watch Hawkeye. They're just get everyone. No one gives a shit. We got to just bring everyone to Hawkeye. Everyone's going to.
I think that maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Hawkeye actually does have a little bit more star power than you're giving him credit for. In terms of the actor.
People out there that like him.
Yeah. There's also people
I don't understand it.
There's also people that know about the comic run that the show will be loosely following and praise that to be like one of the best comics that Marvel's done in a very long time. So I think that also has some hype for it. But yeah, he's got some fans.
I think my thing is I don't know if liking a tweet is confirmation.
I agree.
I would love for D'Onofrio to play Kingpin. I think he is great as Kingpin.
Here's the thing. It's not that he liked the tweet. It's that he liked the tweet and then removed the like. The removal of it is where I get a little like, that seems like someone from Marvel said, hey, you need to not do that.
But also it could have been someone that was like, oh, if you like that, people are going to think that it's real. It could be that as well.
Yeah,
could be.
I was going to say that could be it too. I don't think, especially because that entire cast, especially D'Onofrio, more so than I think anybody else, has been pretty vocal about wanting to reprise their roles. The entire cast of Daredevil came out and supported the hashtag Save Daredevil when that was trending.
Yeah.
They've always recirculated that stuff. They've been, I think, they've made it very clear they want to come back. They've made it very clear they want to do it. Charlie Cox doesn't have a Twitter, but the rest of them have vocalized. I mean, D'Onofrio still tweets clips from Daredevil season 3 about like his favorite scenes and how powerful it was to occupy that role. So the cast has always been supportive of each other, supportive of the project, and supportive of all the movements to bring them back, and stated with like, you know, no apprehension that they want to do it. So I can totally see D'Onofrio liking the tweet, being like, yes, do it. But then unliking it, like maybe people are going to read too much into this and think this is a confirmation, which is what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll read the first confirmation comes from the mods of the Marvel Studios spoilers subreddit that they verified it through multiple sources behind the scenes. And then the second source is this is yahoo.com is reporting on this. It says, always with the leaks, there's no way to verify them, so you shouldn't be too excited about these Hawkeye revelations. But Redditors have also noticed a tweet from comicbook.com's Brandon Davis that said we'll see D'Onofrio return after Hawkeye. The tweet is now deleted. Separately, D'Onofrio liked a tweet about his return as Kingpin, but the actor unliked it. The tweet was from twitter.com/film updates and said Vincent D'Onofrio likes a tweet reporting that he will reprise the role of Kingpin in the upcoming Hawkeye Disney Plus show. Sorry. And that was from Big Screen Leaks is the tweet that he liked and removed. So we'll see. I don't know. Also, Charlie Cox, I think, is confirmed. Like he will be in No Way Home. I think that's confirmed through multiple sources.
No Way Home is like one of those movies where everyone's like, it is confirmed. It is confirmed that this will happen. And my hype for that movie, because all I'm saying is it was confirmed that Quicksilver was in WandaVision until it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I trust anything until I see it on screen. Like, Charlie Cox could be in it, but is it Daredevil? I honestly don't know. I have no clue what is going to happen.
I love him as Daredevil.
Oh, agreed.
You know, okay, so I know I always get laughed at for flexing, but I got to play D&D with him, and when I could see that he could see, I felt betrayed. You know what I mean? Like like when he could see and he talked in a British accent, I felt like I had been lied to. I was like, no.
Wait, he's British?
Yes.
They all are, baby. They all are.
God damn it.
I was like, I felt betrayed. I was like, you can see? I believed you. You know, because he just played that role so well. And when he didn't have an American accent and he could see, I was like, how are you such a good actor?
Yeah,
and I'd seen him in like Stardust and Downton Abbey.
Wait, is he British in Stardust? Because I've seen Stardust as well. Did I just erase that he was British in that film because he was Daredevil? Okay.
I think he is.
I guess I erased it because he was Daredevil.
Yeah. He was the lover in Downton Abbey too. he has an affair with Barrows.
Oh, I think you're.
Wait,
I
you're
think
watching that.
I think
really
you're
hope I did
spoiling
not
it.
spoil it.
Luckily, that show has so many characters in it. I don't know what the fuck you just said to me, but yeah, it's not a spoiler because I have no idea what you said.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just look forward to him. He's in there.
It's great. He's in the show. I'm into it. Does JP know Rick Grimes was British? No, he's American. He's American. He's not British. There's no
nice spoiler. I apologize, fat hotshot. What do you want from me?
Anyways, I hope all that stuff comes true. I'd love to see D'Onofrio in Hawkeye, and I'd love to see Charlie Cox in the Spooderman.
Oh, you are past the spoiler. I was like, I'm pretty sure they're past the spoiler. Okay, it's not. I don't feel bad anymore. JP community, I don't feel bad anymore.
Yeah, because
I was like, I'm pretty sure he's past it.
You shouldn't have felt bad in the first place. There's so many characters in that show. I forgot they even existed. Apparently, so it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Speaking of a shit ton of characters, the MCU has another big actress joining. It's Emilia Clarke.
No,
she's gonna be.
Sorry, that
was. She will be joining the Secret Invasion series on Disney Plus. I think this was rumored a while back, and this is proper confirmation. They have not said who she's going to play, but a lot of rumors are saying that she'll be playing the character of Abigail Brand, who's a mutant alien hybrid with special pyrokinetic abilities. I don't know anything about her.
Can I say, and I don't know why this is the first thing I thought. I can't even explain to you why this is, but something about the look of Emilia Clarke, and for some reason, immediately was like, oh, she's playing the grown-up version of the the kid Skrull from the Captain Marvel.
Oh.
That is like, I don't know why. I was like, oh yeah, I can just see her as an alien. And I don't know why. And I don't know if that's offensive or if I can just picture her in like, yes, she is an alien in this show. I can't explain to you. But I just like, that's instant. I was like, oh yeah, well, of course she's going to be in it. She's going to be the grown-up alien. Obviously.
True.
That is, I don't know why. I don't know why that's what I thought of. But to me, I'm like, that's perfect casting.
That's true.
I feel like that's insulting, but I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Perfect. She's grown up alien.
Yeah. This all came out of, just so we get our sources here, Yahoo.com is reporting this, as well as Variety, discussing the Secret Invasion series, which will, quote, follow a group of shape-shifting aliens who have been infiltrating Earth for years. In addition to Clarke, the already well-stacked cast includes Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Olivia Colman, and Kingsley Ben-Adir. Jackson, of course, will once again portray the character Nick Fury. Mendelsohn reprises his role as the Skrull Talos. We'll see.
Kingsley Ben-Adir is, I just want to point out.
I don't know who that is. I'm Googling this. Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's like another British actor.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think it's interesting that, like, I don't know. I think they're definitely pooling from I'm going to say very talented pool of young British actors.
100%.
I think, that's great because it's super interesting to see all their like American accents, but it also gives them, I don't know, like I'm curious to see all the new actors they bring in as we enter this next phase. Yeah. Because it definitely seems like they're stacking for the long run again.
Because they're going to blow the fuck up, right?
Yeah. Like they're bringing in new people that then they can grow and they'll be that character. Like, Tom Hiddleston, let's be honest. No one knew Tom Hiddleston. And if they did, it wasn't like in anything. It was like world changing. But like that's an actor that is now that role. And he's literally like, I could do this forever. And I think that's kind of a thing where they're like, we want to bring in someone that like it blows them up to the point where like, I love this and I want to do this forever. I don't know. I think it's neat. I'm excited for it.
Same.
Like, these are good actors they're bringing in.
Without a doubt. Last bit of news before kind of an interesting thought piece here from James Gunn. Benedict Wong was talking about the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings stint that he's doing. And he says, when Shang-Chi was happening, I was so pleased that it was happening, but I was kind of a little crestfallen when I wasn't a part of it. And then I got the call from Marvel Studios, and I was like, yes. And he put 3 exclamation marks there. He said, this is from sci-fi.com. Per usual, Wong was allowed to spill details about the Dukaroo with Abomination or what put Wong in that situation. But he did offer his potent excitement for what's to come. He said, I'm super thrilled. And then to be said at the table of Asian excellent. It was amazing. I'm a big fan of all those artists. I'm going to butcher this name. Is it Tony Leung? How do you say his last name, Bronze? I know you're a huge fan.
I don't want to destroy it, but I think it's
I'm
just
butchering
Lang.
it for you. Oh, is it just Lang? Let's see.
I believe so, but I don't want to offend anybody. I don't know if I did it incorrectly.
I'm Googling this. Hold on.
I'm looking.
How do you pronounce this? Let's go with this. I'm going to listen to it. Lung. It's like lung-ish. Okay, that's fine. I was listening to it. He says, is a massive idol of mine. So it's been constant surprises. That's what the role of Wong gives me. So we will see what happens. I can't believe that movie comes out on September 3rd. We're like, that's a month away at this point.
Also, I mean, crazy. I think as a character, it's one that I would love to see more of. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, he's great. Yeah, I love the character.
Yeah, we got one movie of him, and then kind of like goofs the rest. Like his other performance, or not performance, but other like times he showed up in the MCU. It's either been like to joke about being like, I'm the monk who just wants a tuna sub, or I like say one line in Endgame that's like, oh, you wanted more? Like, it'd be nice to see him do other things than be like, hey, I'm here to be the wingman. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, flesh him out for sure. I think any character they decide to like flesh out at any point in the MCU is done so well because turns out they only hire good actors when the casting director is out there working. So yeah.
I was still on pronunciation.
Did you figure it out? Did you?
It's not easy. I listened to a couple of different. There is an R in there, and the G is almost like I don't know how to describe it. It's like there, but it's like li, ung, but fast. Leong. I'm so sorry if I destroyed it again, but there is an R in there.
Okay.
But it's like Cantonese is. I feel like one of those languages where it takes practice. So, it's not easy.
Yeah, without question.
But the way I broke it down is like li ung leong. Sorry.
I mean, it's better. Sounds better than how I was butchering it, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. There's a big thing out of HollywoodReporter.com regarding James Gunn, who put out a statement sometime last week that essentially says that the superhero genre needs to, quote, bring in other elements to avoid becoming boring. He goes on to say in the article, we know the way the cowboy films went and the way war films went. He said, I don't know. I think you have to be a genius to put two and I don't think you have to be a genius to put two and two together and see that there's a cycle to those sort of films, and that the only hope for the future of comic book and superhero films is to change them up. They're really dumb and they're mostly boring for me right now.
Who said this?
James Gunn, the Suicide
James
Squad
Gunn
director, and
really dumb and mostly boring. I mean, to say this is ludicrous. To say that, oh, well, the comic book genre is going to be worn out. That's like saying the book genre is going to be worn out. There are so many different kinds of comic books. You know, Sandman is a comic book. Y the Last Man is a comic book.
Right.
The Boys is a comic book. The one I love the most that Wolf Among Us is based off of, and now for some reason I cannot think of his name. Is it Fables?
Yeah.
That's a comic book. Now, if you want to say that superhero comics are overdone or something like that, that's one thing. But to say that, like,
which I think is what he meant,
comic is overdone,
is to
me very silly, because comics as a genre span everything from sci-fi horror to the superhero stuff to like even emotional like drama type of thing. The other thing I want to say is that even if we look at comic book movies and stuff in that genre that's coming out, I don't think it all goes the same way. I think we've started, going into the emotional side of it, of like the emotional toll of what it takes to be a hero, or what it takes to overcome trauma. I think they started that with Endgame, and they've started moving the needle on that for a while now.
Yeah, I agree.
And with Loki, we even have like a romance in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there's aspects to this statement that I can agree with, and also it's totally, it doesn't hit the mark at all. So like, I understand at a fundamental level, like if you look at superhero movies in general, you can see the formula, right? Most of the time, some of these movies, they have the exact same formula. It's a reason why everyone got tired of watching Spider-Man have an origin story over and over and over again. Like that, like you can see how it can become stale. The difference, though, is that if you go back, so I thankfully have a wide knowledge of both war and cowboy things. Thanks, Dad, because that's all he watches. So I literally know every single damn thing. And the big problem with those is that the cowboy movies were all the same tropes over and over and over and over and over and over again. And the war movies were all the same tropes. That's why you have like, I'm Tex, and I'm from Arkansas, and I'm like the coward guy, and I'm the guy who's like the hard ass, and I'm the guy who like, you have all the tropes of those films over and over again. But the thing I think that is missing here is very much like war movies and cowboy movies. They didn't go away. They changed. And the tropes of those films changed. And so we got because there are only so many wars to make movies on, right? You can only make so many World War II movies unless you change how you tackle the World War II movies. And so that's how we get something like, Saving Private Ryan, and then extending that all the way to Jojo Rabbit, right? Like that extent of like, that's the spectrum of film that you're on. And then, you can talk about cowboy movies. You can talk about how there's all the sorts of different cowboy, and then there's movies that are like, well, we're not going to tell the cowboy side. We're going to tell the native perspective. And we're going to, like, there's a million ways you can do this. And it's more than just like, well, howdy, ma'am. And it isn't the same, John Wayne shtick over and over and over and over again. Like, even if you look at like Logan as a film, that's very like cowboy-y. And so there's this like big scope of what these films became. And so perhaps
Mandalorian is a Western.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They even specifically are like, it is a Western. They've said it. And the soundtrack is obvious, right? And so the to say that, like, those movies ended, the type of movie, the film that was like a canned, all right, everyone, let's go out in the desert and film a thing real quick. And then, like, the tropes are there, and the woman's like, save me from the savages. And the guy's like, don't worry, babe. And then, like, the cavalry shows up at the end. You can see how, like, Marvel, because it makes so many, eventually that can become stale. But the idea is that you see it now. They're changing up how they're doing things. They have been going for 10 years, and they do need new blood, new directors. That's why you're seeing directors who are like, well, I haven't seen them do anything major yet. It's like, yeah, well, they're saying, like, we saw the one thing you did. We loved it so much. Do something for us. And they're changing the different directions they take it. And frankly, I think, to say that it's in danger, I think personally right now, I'm never more excited for the directions they're headed when it comes to comic book movies. I think they're actually taking chances and doing things. And frankly, Loki is a perfect example of like them being like, F it, let's do a thing. And I thought it worked very well. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the vibe is.
I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing the genre. In fact, I think one of our first episodes, I said something like, well, the MCU movies aren't like amazing movies, right. And that's why they don't win that many awards. Like, they're good movies. They're entertaining movies. But like, are they, the greatest pieces of film and cinema ever made? Probably not. And we talked, I think, briefly about like some of the challenges to what that was. And one of them is like, well, these films are expensive to make, very expensive to make. And therefore they can't be niche, artsy, like films. They have to kind of have mass market appeal. They have to have appeal to children. They have to have appeal to casuals who may have no idea who Spider-Man is. And they have to somehow navigate making these films accessible and being able to market them to a massive audience. And that makes it very difficult, right? To make that film and still make it be this like art. But to say that the genre is endangered to me is just, I don't know, to me it's just silly, because like, are there parallels between, you could say that about any genre of film. And that's because films become formulaic, whether that's zombie movies, when that was a trend, whether that's slasher flicks, like you can literally say that about any genre of film. And yet these things get reinvented, retooled, and brought back every few years, And I think films like Train to Busan, even after people were tired of the zombie genre, show us that even now people can, and I know that film is not new. I'm just saying people were already tired of zombies when that film came out. Show us that it's the formula that's the problem, not the content. It's when your films become too formulaic. And the one thing I could say about superhero films is that DC is its own thing. I'm not talking about DC, but at least with the MCU, they have somehow not become that yet. And the last 3 shows kind of show us that very clearly, because when we talk about genres, WandaVision, Captain America and Winter Soldier, and Loki are not formulaic at all. They don't follow each other's formula. They have almost nothing in common. Other than, canonically, all of these shows take place in the same universe. But thematically, music-wise, I remember joking about how Bucky and, Captain America, like, working on the boat reminded me of, like, a Ford pickup commercial, and how this was such a whiplash from everything else we've seen. So I don't think it's fair to sit here and say that all these films are formulaic, because they're not. Ragnarok is not anything like Ant-Man and the Wasp. Thematically, musically, color grading wise, the films are completely different.
But I can understand how 5 movies, 4 movies a year for 10, for however long it's been, especially looking forward, I can understand how a director or fans or whoever would be like, it's a lot. And if you aren't watching every single one as sort of like part of your podcast, there's going to be a lot of people are just like, yeah, it's the same thing over and over again. And here we are, we're like analyzing, dissecting, and we're realizing it's definitely not. But the thing that's important, I think, at the end of the day is when it comes to cowboys, you can only tell so many cowboy stories. When it comes to war, there are only so many, Earth wars. You know what I mean? But when it comes to comics,
True.
Comics are fantasy. Comics are sci-fi. Comics are a million things. They can be whatever they want to be. And it's a story that the idea of superheroes transcends the idea of comics, right? Ancient Greeks had superheroes, right? Like ancient Egyptians had everyone's had superheroes. It's part of the mythos of humanity. It's how we tell good stories. It's how we, the idea of someone with great power having the same BS that we have to go through. We live vicariously through their achievements and hope for a better whatever. Like and that's part, like no one was like, well, there's just too many Hercules stories. You know what I mean? Like people were like, give us more. And it's the same thing. People, this is our form of entertainment. And, just right now, there's a great number of them because it's incredibly popular and successful. But there's a reason it's incredibly popular and successful. People want more of it.
True.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also just funny to me because like I feel like they've done a very good job. Like as soon as the films start to feel like you know what to expect, now we live in a world where Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty par for the course. But do you remember when Guardians dropped? Marvel did not have anything under their brand that was like Guardians or like Ragnarok or like now they didn't have anything under their brand that was like Loki or WandaVision. Mm-hmm. Like it just feels I feel like, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like James Gunn is trying to hype up his own film by being like, I'm gonna be that guy. Like these are formulaic and they're all gonna die, but I'm gonna save the genre, and that's why you should watch a film that has a really bad track record and characters and a DC film that most of the internet probably isn't gonna like. I mean, maybe I sound very bitter, but I feel like that's like a thing, like, oh well, this entire genre is gonna die, but my movie's gonna breathe new life into this. It's like nothing you've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and read I think a lot of what everyone just said. We were putting words in his mouth because he definitely didn't say a lot of that stuff. But I think what he was saying is mostly from a technical aspect. When it came to like how I think at a certain point, Marvel is like all about CG, right? And 90% of the things in that, in any given scene in a Marvel movie was just a giant green screen. And so he's thinking like, or talking about how like practical needs to come back to like make that stuff more interesting. And he cites like Iron Man was did so well because we got to see like a guy flying around and it looked super believable. But now if you do that, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's super simple, right? Like it's not pushing the envelope or anything. It's just like, oh, we just made a guy fly, right? And so I think that's where he was coming from in the story. But I also agree with everything you guys said in terms of the MCU and they are changing it up every so often. Just when it starts to feel a little formulaic, they do kind of introduce some things that make it not. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think anyone's like arguing that like superheroes are not like a trend right now. They are. I just feel like the trend is so broad, or the content is so broad. It feels weird to compare it to like genres that still exist. Like to be like, well, look at the war movie trend. Look at it's like, there's still war movies that come out.
Right. But
Tomorrow War just dropped. Like, what does that even?
There's definitely war movies that come out, but it's not like back in its heyday when it was every movie was a war movie or every movie was a Western, right? Like right now, it's kind of like every movie is a Marvel movie. There's not very many other like big budget
Marvel
movies
span that entire genre. There's war movies that are definitely like, to me, Endgame.
Sure.
It was definitely a war movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think at that point it's a little bit semantics in a lot of ways, right? Like you can pick and choose what each movie is. So anyways, I kind of feel bad that we're just getting to this, however many episodes we are. This should have been like maybe one of the first things we did, but we need a tier list for the show so that people know that we can just point them to this outright. So Jesse had the great idea that we should do each phase first, and then I think we need an overarching Marvel thing so that anytime something Marvel comes out, we insert it into the overarching Marvel ranking for the MCU crew somewhere down the line. But we're a long ways from that. So we're going to start with phase 1 today. We'll do phase 2 probably next week. I don't think there's anything big coming out, and we'll just kind of use the tier list to fill the void until we do the ultimate MCU crew tier list video or whatever.
Is this about to be the easiest tier list ever?
It will be.
We're about to just be like,
there's a lot of news today, and we're already over an hour. So this will be the easiest one. Yeah. Yeah. We're doing phase 1 tier list here. There's 6 movies in phase 1. I think we're going to all
set up.
say,
I'm so impressed.
I think we're all going to say that Avengers is the best of Phase 1.
Are we going to say it's Avengers is S rank?
In the Phase 1 world, yes. I think so.
This is rough. We're going to have to, we might have to change moving forward.
Oh, 100%. We will. And we can also, let's also just put the other
S rank.
Let's also put the other rule out
first
there.
Avengers is S rank? It was good, but is it S rank?
Within the Phase 1 world. If you encapsulate Phase 1 in these 6 movies, it is the S rank of Phase 1.
If I'm going back, I'm retreating in my mind's palace to when Phase 1 was happening, and yes, I would put Avengers in S rank.
Yeah. So
with no knowledge
without
of
question.
what's happening in
You're right. My knowledge is much like a person who can see the future. Yeah.
No, you have to retreat. You have to go back into your Phase 1 brain and activate.
You're right.
There we go. A little bit easier to see.
You're right. All right. Yeah, I agree with that. At the time, it was the hypest thing I've ever seen. You're right.
It was insane. We got to see absurd stuff that I never would have. I rewatched the like whatever spinning superhero team reveal thing.
That's
an iconic moment in the entirety of the MCU.
And the laser off of the repulsor blast off of the Captain America shield.
Yeah.
And all the bromance between Banner and Stark and how they were like huge fanboys of each other. No, that movie's
Coulson dying, right? Like that was just a catalyst for them to avenge.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
The Hulk being a wholesome doctor in India, being like, just leave me alone. I just want to be here in a calming environment.
Someone in chat says, and Hawkeye, ... Hawkeye had some cool moments.
He had a role in that movie.
He shot that motherfucking giant ass worm and it smashed into that building, and he looked cool because he did it like a fadeaway shot. And he went like this, and he was looking somewhere else when he shot because he doesn't miss. It was pretty cool. He also got mind controlled. That's true. That's true. We did get mind controlled. I forgot about that. Anyways,
boy, they had no idea what to do with that character.
Well, he ran out. Remember, he ran out of arrows. If you recall. He ran out towards the end. And then
that was a huge plot development for him.
You can do. Why would you only bring... I feel like you would have a... Sorry. Okay, next.
Here's the thing. The hard part is going to be what's the worst movie of Phase 1. Okay? And I think we've got 2 contenders, Thor and Hulk. What are we doing here? What's the D rank of Phase 1?
Oh, D is Hulk.
You think it's Hulk?
Easy.
Yeah, Hulk.
Easy.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw that movie?
Let me just say it was recent enough that I remember still hating it. I remember being like, I don't like this movie.
Okay. All right. Okay. I will also say this. I was going to say this earlier, but if at any point either of you watches an old movie and we need to have a discussion about the official tier list of the MCU crew, we can have that conversation. We'll call a meeting of the 3 of us, and we'll have that discussion on any podcast at any point. It will trump any conversation that is currently ongoing, and we will go straight to the tier list.
Here's what I'll say. This is what's upsetting about tier lists, because you have to make tough choices. Like
you do.
I would I don't know that I put Hulk at a D. It's bad, but I don't know that I put it at D. However, I don't know that I put Hulk in. Here's the thing, but I also don't know that I put Hulk and Thor on the same level, and I don't know that I can give Thor.
You don't
think
B. Thor's a B?
You know what I'm saying? I don't know that I can give Thor a B because I don't think Thor and that's why I'm like, oh, I hate tier lists. So I have to put Hulk as a D.
Hulk, right?
Yeah,
Hulk, right?
Norton Hulk. Yeah.
I feel like that movie was pretty bad. Maybe I need to rewatch it.
I'll say this: the movie starts off better than it ends. The end of that movie is dog shit. That movie is fucking abysmal. With the ending, I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. But the beginning is great. I love the beginning where he's like, he's sitting across from like a jujitsu guy who's like teaching him how to breathe and like doing this crazy breathing. And then the jujitsu guy just slaps the shit out of him. And he just like takes it and then he looks at his heartbeat and he's like, more. And then he fucking hits him again like hard as shit. And he's like, all right, I can control this. I'm getting better at controlling my anger. They explore that more than I think they ever did with Banner. Whereas Banner was just kind of a goof, or with Ruffalo, sorry. Ruffalo was always kind of like a goof where he's like, don't piss me off, bro. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry, that type of stuff, which is fine. I think that those are iconic lines.
Do you think poor Ruffalo will ever get a film?
No,
I think he deserves one.
I think they've written him into a bad spot. I don't know if he'll ever get a film.
Hulk is not supporting cast. There, I said it. He's not supporting cast.
Here's the thing, though, is Hulk and we're getting away from the tier list, but Hulk exists, and the reason that the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, I think, did so bad is because Marvel didn't know how to make a giant green guy that gets angrier and angrier like they did the Guardians. If they would have Guardianized his story, I think the Hulk could have been a much bigger thing in the MCU. But because of the idea of power levels, keeping him somewhat grounded so that him and Hawkeye could share the screen, or him and Black Widow could share the screen, and also not knowing how to make a giant green guy who gets angrier and more powerful, like a Groot, for example, or a Drax, for example, at that point in their career, is Marvel Studios. That's why that film kind of had a bad time. They just didn't know what to do with it yet, right?
It has to be a D.
It's got to be a D?
It's got to be a D.
I think it does. I think it does too.
So then is Thor a C?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It had some redeeming moments. I think that's why Hulk has to be a D. I agree with Jesse because Thor is at least a little bit more enjoyable than Hulk. I wish we had a point system.
I mean, no, you can do this where you can have them have inner rankings in between the thing where Hulk is.
But I don't see I would never put the two of those next to each other. Thor is a quantitatively better movie than Hulk. It just is. Even though Thor is not a great movie.
Minuses?
No, I mean, that's what that's what this would be. Hulk would be a C- and Thor would be a C+.
Is that what that would be? Is it?
You can just, you can make up whatever the fuck you want. We're just using a tier list website for visual representation. Well, we'll leave it like this.
Okay.
For now. What are we thinking about Iron Man 1? Is that A or is that S behind Avengers?
For me, that's an S. But
S? I would say A.
Yeah,
I don't think that's on par with Avengers.
I love that movie. You don't think it's on par with Avengers?
I think the movie, the first 2/3 of that movie is far more interesting than the very end. Him becoming Iron Man to me is far more interesting than the last bit of it. I don't know.
I agree.
It's a solid A.
The end of Iron Man 1's comparable to the end of Hulk for me, to be honest. I think the fight.
Bad?
I think the fight with whatever the fuck the dude at the end of Iron Man 1 is kind of dog shit. Name is
Obadiah.
Yeah. It started the trend of the heroes are going to fight foils of themselves, and I hate when movies do that. And I hated it when it happened in Iron Man. It's you're gonna fight a more metal Iron Man dude guy who's just bigger, right? And I thought it was a bad fight sequence.
It's the thing, Iron Man is perpetually rewatchable. I think it's a fine film. I've found myself rewatching it just because it's fun.
Totally.
But I can't say that it's on the level. If we're gonna put Avengers at S, then Iron Man has to be A. It just has to be.
But Avengers is S because Iron Man was S. Iron Man set up Avengers for greatness.
I think you have to judge the films on their own in this instance, not what they became or what they started. We can't give an S to Iron Man 1 because it started the MCU.
We have to judge it based on what it is as a standalone product. I think it's an A.
I think that's
hard for me.
An S, but I'm just saying.
This film has so much nostalgia and heart behind it for me. I don't think I can look at it objectively. I'm being honest. I don't think I can. I think are there probably issues with that film? Yes, but for a Marvel film in which my standard is arguably lower, no. I think it was so much better than some of the films that came after it, and I loved it.
I mean,
and it
agreed.
made me immediately invested in everything that this universe was going to make because I just love this movie so much. And the way he goes to the press conference and
at the end,
and
now that part is great. That part is
so
great.
Cool.
That part is great. I would agree with that.
You're going to go up there and deny everything. And he's like, yeah. And he goes up there and he's just like, fuck it. And I was just like, this is so good.
Jesse, have you been swayed? Are you still in Camp A?
No. Iron Man becoming Iron Man is the best part of that movie. I agree with you that even though Obadiah is like a fun character, like the whole, it's like you've created the weapons of war that you have created. It's fine, but the ending payoff was one where it was just, I've made a bigger Iron Man to fight your Iron Man. And I don't know. I was like, whatever.
No. I've gotta say objection, Phoenix Wright style, because the beginning of the film here. Let me put nostalgia aside and try to argue this logically. The beginning of the film is about Tony Stark, the things he's making, being used in a way that disgusts him, that perverts what he thought was happening with them. And having Obadiah do that a second time with his technology is, I think, a great capstone to like why he became Iron Man. He becomes Iron Man because he sees his tools being used for horrible things, right? And then he finally takes some agency in that and is like, you know what? We're not going to make weapons anymore. We're not going to do this stuff anymore. I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to be a superhero. I can do this. And then Obadiah does the exact same thing. He steals the technology that his dad made. He steals the arc reactor technology and does it again. So I feel like it's almost a perfect villain in the sense that it encapsulates why he is Iron Man. Because he's not going to let people take his genius and pervert it anymore.
Well, unfortunately, I think that our readings are different because in the beginning, Tony Stark is literally selling weapons of war.
Yes.
He's and so
he's okay with it until they until they fall into the hands of the villain. And same thing with
but who's the villain? Like, right? Who is the villain in this story?
But that's
like he's selling it to the military.
Conceit.
Right, but he's like selling to the military to use on people. No, I understand he realizes it, but the idea that he in the beginning, he is not a good guy. And so only when he ends up in a cave and on the brink of death and talks to a man who's like, yeah, my family's dead. And I could, and he sees the ground level, does he change as a person? And he tries to change his company. And then the bad guy's like, I do not want to change. But I don't think that it's like, I don't know. I feel like our readings of the situation are different.
I don't know. I feel like the point you made with the first part is a good point. He's not a good person. I don't think they ever posit him as a good person.
Oh, right. I'm not but the idea that he then realizes like, oh, people are using my things for evil. I have to believe that he understood that like he's selling weapons to armies that are doing
from it.
Right.
He was okay with the violence as long as it wasn't directed at him. And then he basically dies from one of his own shells and has shrapnel in his heart. And I think that there's poetry in that. That he's okay with those bombs dropping on other people and one drops on him. And he's like,
no, and that's why, and that I totally agree with you. But that's why I love the first 2/3 of that movie, because it's about a guy who's self-absorbed and he's in his own world, and he he has all these problems, and you can see his character growth, and that's what I love. I love when he comes back from the cave and he's like, I can make this Iron Man thing, and then he uses it to go around the world and sort of right his own wrongs and destroy his own weapons and stuff. And I love that. What I'm saying is, once the movie switches to the part where it's like, you know, Obadiah is like, I am the one who I am the guy who secretly is controlling the dude who is apparently in the 10 Rings and his friend Tom Morello. I am the one who, you know, like once it gets to that point and it's like, oh, it isn't, you know, it's like JP said, it suddenly becomes, instead of Iron Man tries to right his own wrongs, is now the wrongs are like the older dude at the corporation who's like, I refuse to change, and I refuse to change so much that I have made a bigger, angrier.
But that's because he hasn't gone through that journey. You have to understand at some point, Tony was this guy. We get to see past Tony and what Tony would have been probably if he hadn't had one of his own shells drop on him. And if you go back to that final fight, he doesn't beat him with more missile power. He doesn't beat him by outmuscling him. He beats him by being Tony Stark because he solved the ice problem and this big freaking iron idiot didn't. And that's what shows that he's not a guy in a metal suit with guns. This was to show to all the casuals who don't know what makes Tony Stark so freaking the best. He's not some idiot in a metal suit with guns. Anybody can do that. He is a scientist. He's a genius, billionaire, philanthropist, superhero, okay? And he kills him using engineering. Engineering, by being like, how did you solve the ice problem? And he's like, what ice problem? That was beautiful because he's just so smart.
So what Bronze is saying is she actually likes Iron Man 3 the best out of all the Iron Man movies. The one where it really
the hell your mouth. You shut the hell your
really
mouth.
Encapsulates that he's the mechanic, you know, and they focus on that.
I mean, like, but admittedly,
don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
But Bronze, the problem with what you just said is it 100% the icing scene, very cool. And the idea that he used science there is very cool. But that's not how he dies.
He does.
The icing scene sets him back and you think like got him, but that's not, in the end it's just another like, and then we blew him up.
Right.
You know? Like that's not what got him. What got him was they like Pepper ran around and did some shit, and Tony was like, Pepper, no! And then, like, he blew up. And then Obadiah blew up in the end. Like, it wasn't like him falling from the sky killed him. What now?
Don't they electrocute him?
They dropped him into the arc reactor.
Yeah, he, like, gets arc reactored and it explodes.
Yeah.
So, like, it isn't even, like, as cool as, like, and then he science the shit out of it. It's like he used science for one bit, and then in the end, it would still just blow him up. So, like, I don't know. I'm still saying A. But, like, it's a very good movie. I'm not saying it's not good. But if we're going to put Avengers at S, which is, like, the team comes together, and it's what everyone's been waiting for, in that moment, like, the shot where they're all, like, I have to say it has to be better than the standalone movie. It has to be. I
believe it's better than I believe Avengers is better than Iron Man 1. But Iron Man 1 does have some really cool scenes in it. Right?
Like, I'm not saying it doesn't have cool scenes. It's a great movie.
Would you put it Wait, Jesse. Would you put it at S if Avengers wasn't there?
Yeah, if Avengers wasn't there, I would put it as, based on the other movies here, I would say it was S.
So,
absolutely.
I'll say this, Jesse. I'll say this.
I think this is actually where the rub is, because when it came to Hulk, Thor, I agreed with you, where I was like, well, we can't put those on the same level. And I understand now that you're having that stick up with Iron Man and Avengers, and this helps me have insight into this argument a little bit.
Let me also say this. There's only, if we're going to use this ranking hierarchy, S, A, B, C, D, there's 6 of these. So we're going to have 2 on one tier.
Right. Oh, I can agree that there's movies that I think are equal.
Okay. All right. Sure. I was just making sure that you weren't like spacing them out to space them out.
No. I'm just saying, like, quantitatively, based on S through D, I view Avengers being the, like, culmination of all of this, and a movie that made me feel like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this in a movie theater. It is better than just a standalone Iron Man movie.
Hold on, let me ask you this. If we do away with the S, A, B, C, D, because that's not going to work for a ranking of the movies. If we're ranking them, that's a different type of ranking. If we're doing like a 1 through 6, Avengers is 1, Iron Man 1 is 2. Does that satiate both of you?
Let me just remind everyone, I wasn't a fan of putting Avengers at S. But here we are.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm going with S.
True. That's true.
No,
I'm going with S, then I'm just,
You didn't answer the question, though. If we remove S through D and we just do 1 through 6, Avengers is 1, Iron Man 1 is 2. Does that work for you? Because we're going to have to rank them anyways that way.
Oh, I mean, yes. I would agree. Based on these 6 movies, Avengers has to be the first.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the reason I'm campaigning so hard against A and B is I don't think Iron Man should have to share a ranking with Captain America or Iron Man 2. Because
it's not going to share a ranking with Iron Man 2, that's for sure. It's not going to be anywhere near Iron Man 2.
Well, so I think having numbers, I like how this has become. No, we need to change the entire tier system.
Well, no, to be honest, it is flawed because like we are going to rank these in a 1 to whatever order, so we might as well rank them via that order, not with like this S. And,
I mean, if we're gonna rank these by number, going down the list. I mean, like mine would easily be
like this:
Avengers. Yeah, mine would easily be Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America. Thor, and then I would put. It doesn't matter to me whether I would put Thor before Iron Man 2.
Really?
I dislike Iron Man 2. That movie is. I don't think it even knows what it wants to be. So that's what I would do.
That's tough for me because I really like Hammer.
Yeah, I thought Iron Man 2 had some good moments. This will be the.
But I just
Well, then
Iron Man 2 is a movie that like
drop these out.
It is the same problem that every movie where they're like, well, there are multiple villains has because they don't know how to they barely know how to tell the tale of one good villain, let alone put multiple ones in a movie. And so the idea that they have
100% agree.
So I don't know. I feel like
that movie is riddled with problems, especially like him being like, if you don't have to kill God, you just have to show everyone he can bleed. And then at the end, he's like, never mind, I'm going to try to kill God. It's like, didn't you just kind of refute your own point, idiot?
Yes.
No, that movie is confused as hell. It has some great moments in it. I'm trying to remember, like, if I would actually put Thor above it, though. Because
when was the last time you saw Thor? I feel like Thor 1 is actually a better film than most people think. So I'm a little bit self-biased there. But I also like Iron Man 2 more than most people like Iron Man 2.
I think Thor 1 is a fine film. I just think it is a little boring.
I will agree with you. It is a little boring. They didn't necessarily know what the fuck they were doing. Also, Kenneth Branagh, or whatever the fuck you say his name, directed that as well as Thor 2. And it shows that he's a Shakespearean actor and a Shakespearean director, because that is what they tried to make Thor into, was a Shakespearean character. And it was not the right direction for a movie version of Thor.
Yeah, I definitely think that as a film, it's not
Alan Taylor
bad.
did Thor 2. Rather, it was still the same premise. He tried to do it. He continued the Shakespearean Thor.
Thor 1 is not bad, but it isn't particularly interesting. And the big bad is a robot thing that's kind of boring. Yeah. And it's what's Loki? Because Loki was never truly threatening. The robot monster they created, and it was he's destroying us. Thor is on an intergalactic level, but the violence is he's destroying a small town in the middle of nowhere. No, right? Because they had to keep Thor a secret from the world. The plot is a robot is vaporizing a diner. And it's well, this is dumb. So, it's entertaining, but it's also boring and not nearly it's weird to take an intergalactic superhero like Thor and put him in to a small Oklahoma town or wherever it was. It's, I guess it's fun as storytelling. How is he going to deal with this? But it also doesn't make it very compelling because it's he has to deal with like the Midwest, right? Like that's boring. That's not fun.
It was New Mexico, I think, right? My biggest deal with Thor 1 was that no matter where you're at in that movie, apart from maybe Asgard, if you're in like the New Mexico setting, it always looks like a movie, like soundstage or something like that. It always looks like they made that town specifically to be shot in this movie, because no fucking town ever looks like that. And I always have a hard time like getting past that. But do I think Iron Man 2 is better than it? Yeah, I guess so. I like this ranking. I'm okay with this ranking. I think that it'll start get okay. I think it's going to get a little bit more complicated in phase 2.
Jesse doesn't look okay with it. Jesse, get it out.
No, I'm fine. Here's the thing. The first 3 are so easy for me that the last 3 do not matter, because I think they're all subpar compared to the first 3. Like the first 3, I frequently rewatch the first 3, and the last 3 I avoid. So like that's the difference. I try not to think about their existence. So, like I genuinely love Captain America for his campiness, for everything that it is. I like actually love that movie. And the thing is, like, I love it the same way I love Iron Man, and I love it the same way that I love Avengers. It is like, I don't know. I for some reason I feel it. And I can understand why everyone is like, oh, well, this is what I don't like about Captain America. But for some reason, it like clicks with me.
Yeah, I like Captain America as well. If we were still doing the S and A, I would put Captain America and Iron Man both on A, with Iron Man slightly above.
I will say, though, I think Captain America, for me, suffers the same way Iron Man does. I love the first 2/3 of Captain America. I love watching him like become Captain America and go on that journey. And then the end, I'm like, all right. Yeah. And then like a bunch of stuff happens. And it's kind of like falls apart towards the end. But like, I love the first 2/3 of Captain America. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Part of that, I think, also is where you knew where it was going, right? Like you knew that the sacrifice of him was coming up somewhere because he had to get fucking frozen. Right. And so I think that kind of hurt the end. I also think that Red Skull was not, for what that character is in the comics, he didn't live up to what it was on the movie, in the movie world. But I think a lot of that also comes down to the fact that like that movie was about developing Captain America as a character, and it wasn't about developing the Red Skulls in a character.
But that's like, let me just say, that is one of those movie things that I hate.
It's hard to do both.
Agreed. But I hate that thing that movies do where, and you hear a lot of directors talk about this. I remember recently someone said something. Damn, I wish I remember. It was a very famous director was talking about character development. And I don't remember what movie this was, but he was saying like, this is a blank movie, not a blank movie. So like, same thing here.
Sure,
this is a Captain America movie, not a Red Skull movie.
Totally.
So our time and energy went in developing Captain America. But I'm like, Captain America is nothing without a good foil. And just like, all these films are nothing without a good foil. That's why I think Infinity War is like such a great movie, and that it takes, we've gotten all the main characters out of the way. So it takes time to develop the villain. And so we can see more about Thanos as a villain. So it makes what he does all that more impactful and interesting. And I like what they're doing again with Kang, is they're like developing more of, we have a long backstory with this character, and it will keep going. Yep. And it sucks that that's how movies are done, though. It's a Hollywood thing where it's like, look, this movie, the title is Iron Man, or the title is Captain America. So anyone else we have, they're there to like further that plot, which again is how we end up with movies like Thor 2, which is like, look, it's called Thor 2. It's not called, Dark Elves. But like, if they would have given the Dark Elves even a little bit of time,
they got fucked so bad. It was so
bad. You can't be like, the Dark Elves have been here since before the universe existed, and they're the biggest threat in the galaxy. And then like they don't develop them at all, and that's why it was dumb. And you're like, I don't even give a shit about the Dark Elves. Yep. And I hate that movies do that. It drives me crazy.
I kind of felt that way about the gold people from Guardians 2, where I was like, am I supposed to care about them?
They're going to be in Guardians 3. Probably they would have to be, I think, without more luck. But yeah,
I I just feel bad because I was like, they didn't do a good job like making these guys seem like something I care about, you know?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Is like, how can you care about the world of a hero when their threat is like so dumb and like there's nothing there to get you attached to, like, oh, he's in trouble because that's like this bad guy and he's got these, you've seen him do terrible things, or like you understand, you know, that's like good storytelling takes time to develop the antagonist.
Yeah.
And sometimes movies just don't do that because it's easier to be like, well, we want to spend more time with the hero. And it's like, oof, okay.
It's true. All right. Well, this is our ranking of Phase 1. Just to read it off in case you're listening to the audio version of the show. Avengers is number 1. Iron Man 1 is number 2. Captain America, the First Avenger is number 3. Iron Man 2 is number 4. Thor is number 5, and The Incredible Hulk is number 6. I don't think this list will shock anyone. I think it's about what you would expect from a Phase 1 ranking. We'll do Phase 2 next week. We've got another 6 films. This one I might be a little bit more lively in the conversation. The 6 films in Phase 2.
I feel like I have to watch them.
Well, you got a week.
Seen them in so long.
You got a week.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. Name them all off.
That's what I'm going to do. Iron Man 3. Thor 2 The Dark World, or just Thor The Dark World, Captain America The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, and everyone's favorite, Ant-Man 1.
Okay, that's going to fall into 3 that I'm going to care about and fight for, and 3 that I'm going to have such a hard time rewatching this week, JP, because I'm going to have to average 1 a night, and one of them is going to have to be Dark World and Ultron.
We'll tune in next week. We'll see Bronze and Jesse's thoughts on that, because I've already got my headcanon.
I'm ready to go hard on my new number 1. I'm letting you know. There's a new number 1 next week, and I'm going to fight hard for it.
We're just doing Phase 2.
I'm fighting hard for it.
We're just doing Phase 2, and then we'll combine them once we do Phase 3 as well. Phase 3, 11 movies in Phase 3, in case you were wanting to
I just realized all our number 1s are different. I've just realized that when Jesse said that, I was like, oh my God, 2? I bet you all of our number 1s are different.
No, I think Phase 1 is all right. I think number 1 of Phase 2 is probably, we'll have, I think I have a favorite
I'll DM
in there.
you guys.
No, we'll save it for the show.
And I want to see.
Save it for the show.
Really?
Yeah, save it for next week. Save it for next week.
I'm excited to throw down.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I am going to fight for Ant-Man, though, at some point, because that's not going 5 or 6. No. We're not doing 5 or 6 for Ant. You can't do it. You can't do my boy Rudd like that. That's good. Okay. I'm excited for next week because I think that one's going to be weird. Anyways, let's do some shout outs and wrap up the show. Bronze, where can people check you out? What do you got going on this week? Tell the people.
Hi. Hello. I'm that Bronze girl. Yeah, I run a D&D game on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come check it out. I've got that going on. I stream full-time on Twitch at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, this week I'm playing some more New World. I've been enjoying that a lot. And I'm going to crack into Death's Door. I just bought that yesterday. And it's a cute game about a little crow who, it's kind of Legend of Zelda style. It's like very Zelda-esque. And it's, you go kill spirits. You could say it's the Dark Souls of Zelda games. No, I can't do that.
Nope, can't do that. Nope.
Not even as a joke.
Your mic's cut off till next week. Jesse!
Till next week. Till next week. Got her. Nailed it, boss. You
do
did
some shout outs.
Hey, everyone. You can find me all over the internet at Jesse Cox. It's all one word for some reason. And yeah, it's we got all sorts of stuff coming up. I'm currently working on lore videos for the game I'm obsessed with at the moment, Final Fantasy 14. Doing like a whole thing. Teacher Jesse is coming out again. I wrote a lesson plan. God help me. I don't know what's happening right now. So that's going on. And then just streaming random things. I probably this week have to stream a bunch of Nier because our video we're doing for the YouTube channel, I still have to get lots of footage. So Nier Replicant will probably be a lot that I do this week. And then, at the end of the week, I think Samurai Warriors comes out. And I'm a big Dynasty Warriors fan. And Samurai Warriors is just Dynasty Warriors, but in Japan. And so I'm like really excited about that. I love killing like 20,000 guys in one battle. It's, like in history, a warrior worth 1,000. All right, that's it. I'm done. Let's go.
Also, Jesse and I have a collab coming at the end of the week that we can't talk about.
That's right. But look for our ads. Look for our tweets and instas and all this stuff.
A hashtag ad?
Hashtag mega ad.
Oh. What is it? No one. I'll mute here. Okay, you're muted. What's happening? You're not muted, by the way. You look like you're.
We're no fools. We both sat here like.
I felt bad because if you somehow believed me, that would be the last time you ever did. So I had to jump in real quick.
Know what some of mine and Jesse's interests are and where they overlap. This ad activation makes a lot of sense, and it'll probably be fun. Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
I mean, it could be a little chaotic, but I don't think it will be.
All right, so it's going to be a hashtag ad around hooved catfish tall ladies.
I mean, like, you're not wrong, really.
Okay.
Like, in a way,
all right,
you're kind of correct.
It's true. It's true. Nailed it. Mm-hmm. Thanks for watching the MCU Crew. We'll be back next week. We'll rank up old Phase 2. Make sure to get caught up on your movie so you can tell us how wrong or how right we are. And then I think there's one of those weeks we've got something to watch. When does What If start? Is that next month?
Yeah, it's August sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It starts August 11th. Oh, okay. So we've got 2 more weeks. So we can rank Phase 3 and then watch What If. We're going to have to devote an entire show to the MCU ranking. That's going to be a lot. There's like 27 movies or something.
We should definitely, once it's all put together, then have the great rank off.
The great rank off. Yeah.
Oh.
It's going to be a doozy. It'll be a doozy. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you want to grab the show in podcast form, you can. It's available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, all the audio platforms. So feel free to go grab it. Leave a review. We really do appreciate that. And that's that. We'll see you guys next week for more MCU Crew. We're out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.